Dude, they're giving me like I think I fought the two tallest guys in the division, or well, Sean Woodson being the next one. You know what I mean? Like I fought Ontiveros, he was 6'2". I think Hooper 6'1". This guy's 6'3". I'm like, bro, like, hey, you running out of tall guys to give me, or was?
Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now. Man, let's start with your last fight, man. You got to throw some chingasos, man. Like, what's up?
I
Like,
told you.
yeah, you did,
I
man.
told
And
you.
man, you've been right on with your predictions, man. Like, the Chase Super fight, the Shaolin fight, man. Like that first round, right? Was that one of the wildest rounds you've ever been in?
No. But he definitely stunned me. He definitely stunned me pretty good, and it was definitely some work to get back to where we were back to 50-50, and I was able to do it. But yeah, you don't want to have too many of those. Those kind of suck.
Yeah, definitely, man. But you came back and that teep to the midsection, and then you came right after that, immediately after that. Now you didn't even take a second with another body shot. Did you know like he was hurt?
Yeah, anytime I mean, it's just a good shot to throw, especially when because I had already hurt him like as soon as that sequence kind of began, and he was more worried about his face. You know what I mean? So I knew that if I could go to the body, definitely would just kind of just throw a wrench in there and just kind of just make him have to like you know really just get over the this panicky feeling that you typically get, and then I wanted to just seal the deal with that body shot. But I think the teep is kind of the one that really did it for him.
That was a comeback victory, man. That first round, you did get rocked, you got dropped, and I think it's criminal that they don't give you a bonus for that. They give you a bonus for Chase Hooper, right? But they don't give you a bonus for coming back and getting the knockout. It doesn't make any sense, right?
I think it's the cons of like being early on in the card, man. Like, I don't get me wrong, like I got so much love for it, and I love everybody for it and stuff. But man, like you kind of become like this like forgetful fight. You know what I mean? That happened, and it was kind of crazy because like even so, I met with the boss. I met with Dana White like right after, and he was like so pumped. I thought it was an experience for me because I've met him and stuff, but to actually have like a sit down conversation with him a little bit, and it definitely was like an experience for me. He's like, dude, if you don't get the bonus, we're in for a wild ride. That's what he told me. And I was like, well, just keep me in mind, man. I was like, because, you know, I don't like those type of fights, but they're in my back pocket if I have to, And he just kind of laughed and stuff, and went about our ways and stuff. But it sucks, it sucks. I would love that 50K. I thought it was worthy of a 50K, but I'm not the ultimate decider on that.
Yeah, for sure. I remember someone suggested online that there should be bonuses for the prelims and there should be bonuses for the main card because it's just separate, man, basically. Because like you said, people kind of forget about it.
Yeah, I just honestly feel like the way they structure it, like I think it's kind of cool. Like everybody, obviously, it's funny. It's a good and a bad things. People like they get so consumed by trying to get a bonus, and I'm like, you're consumed about chasing money. And don't get me wrong, like there's there's something to that for sure because I'm kind of the same way. But the difference is that like when you're trying to chase money, then don't like you kind of forget about the fight. You know what I mean? You get so consumed about trying to make that money. I'm like, dude, I'm all about making the money. I'm a prize fighter. You know what I mean? This is how I support my family. But winning the fight means that I get both checks. And that means that like I have to secure that first in order to even be qualified for a bonus. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can have the fight of the night, but honestly, people don't even want those. You know what I mean? Well, you talk to the majority of the UFC staff, they don't care. Like if they get it, obviously they're happy, but that means that they are in a rough fight for 15 minutes or however long. And most of us, we just want to go out there, win, not necessarily unanimously, but we want our finishes. So I think that they should give a sort of bonus for people that they go for finishes. You know what I mean? Like I think you're gonna see the success rate for finishes in the UFC skyrocket when if you do that. You know what I mean? You have three bonuses. I mean, you got a card that's normally filled anywhere from 12 to 15. Nah, man. Like you know what? Like we're the elite of the elite. Like we are one of the best fighters in the world. at this particular moment. Like we're here to bring like bring everything that we have into our situation, and I feel like we're not necessarily like I don't want to say treated fairly. I just want it to be a little bit more fair. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
for sure, man.
Because I feel like
I support it.
yeah, when I fought Charlie Ontiveros, I that was kind of another comeback one for me too, and I didn't get nothing for that too, and I was like, well, we just winning, and at the end of the day, like I get both of my checks, so
Yeah.
that's what matters.
Yeah, man, and after that fight, you get a pretty quick turnaround, 4 months, around 4 months, against Sean Woodson. What do you think of Sean Woodson, man? You go from like a guy that's kind of similar to your height to a guy who's short, and then now you got this guy that's like the tallest in the division, basically.
Dude, they're giving me like I think I fought the two tallest guys in the division, or well Sean Woodson being the next one. You know what I mean? Like I fought Ontiveros, he was 6'2". I think Hooper 6'1". This guy's 6'3". I'm like, bro, like, hey, you running out of tall guys to give me, or what's going on here? But you know what? I like the guy. You know, I've watched him fight even before I thought he was, an opponent, and I like the kid. You know, he's young, he's up and coming. People have a hard time with the stature. I can see why. And what's kind of funny is that like even before I even got him as an offer, I I just I don't know what was going. I was looking at something and he popped up and I was like, dude, I was like, I might one of these days fight this guy. And this was like I said before it happened. And I kind of went to his Instagram and I was like yeah, I was like, yeah, interesting. Like it just kind of just came across my field of view just randomly, and then 2 weeks later, like I get him as who they asked me to fight, and I was like, huh, it's like, weird how that works. But seems like a good dude. You know, I don't have any issue with him.
Yeah, for sure. And what about the fighting style? Like, what have you seen out of him?
I like that he's a boxer. You know what I mean? Doesn't really hit very hard. He just hits a lot. Um, he got a nice little chin on him, so I mean he can definitely take a shot. Uh, I think Dominic Cruz said it best. Like when people fight this guy, you're fighting a guy with like a broomstick, like in like his arms. You know what I mean? Like I can see why people struggle with him, and then like obviously they get frustrated, and then they shoot, and then he has that knee waiting for him up the middle, and man, he just does. He has those two uh in sequence together. You know what I mean? I think he senses it pretty well. He has a good IQ of what's winning, what's not winning. Just kind of reading your opponents and stuff. That's kind of what we're doing in there. We're just problem solving. And I think he knows exactly like when someone's getting frustrated and they uh they want a takedown or something like that, then he lets that knee go and it'll catch you, man. Like he's bony, he's very lanky. I mean, he's like a daddy long leg, man. Like he just God, just so long, very just lanky, man. It's I like I said, I can see why people struggle with him, but I think I fought enough tall dudes to kind of gauge what's gonna happen. And we're full steam ahead. Like there's nothing holding us back. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna get another win.
Yeah, this is where experience becomes a big factor, right? Of the different types
Yeah,
of opponents you faced in the past.
yeah. I don't know if he's fought someone like me. I could be wrong, but I just like I know there's certain people that I don't know. I just feel like at this level right now that I'm at, there's not too many people that are at my level. If I'm not being like too like overconfident, I just feel like I'm very secure with this like level that I feel like I'm above a lot of different people. And once we start looking at the top 15, once we start looking like man, like now I'm like all right, now we're in the heat of things, right? So like I feel like that's where I belong. I feel like that's where I need to be. And I'm just gonna just kind of just keep getting these racks, these wins, and building my momentum to get into there. Now we're gonna see the true tests, and I'm not saying that Sean Woodson's not a true test. He's absolutely a true test, and I don't take him lightly at all. Uh, I just believe in my abilities, and God's blessed me with certain things, and I just believe in myself, man. Like if no one's gonna do it, like I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? Everybody counts me out all the time, man. Like, and that's okay. Like I'm fine with that. Everybody sees me as an underdog. I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that. They're someday they're gonna figure it out.
Well, your last couple of performances, man, they've been pretty phenomenal, man. You've been able to go in there and problem solve, even if you get hurt, even if you're down in the round, like you come back and finish the fight. Outside of the Mahashate fight, which was, I believe, at lightweight, right? It was not even a featherweight fight. You know, it's you're 31 years old. You're looking like you're in your prime, dude. Do you feel that way?
I do feel that way. I feel like I'm still progressing. I feel like the way I put things together, it's probably better than it's ever been. And it's funny because my coach called it. Coach called it when I was getting in the UFC. He called it when I was going to start making my kind of my reign. You know what I mean? When I'm going to start making this climb, and you know, I, sometimes you just gotta listen to people. These guys, they've been here for a long, long time, and especially my coaches. We have so many people that they've coached through all of this. You know what I mean? And just because it's me, I feel like it's just different, but it's not to them. To me, I'm another fighter that they work with, and they know how these things and this process works. And that's why they always say trust the process. You know what I mean? If you have a good, skilled coach who believes in you, like trust them, believe them, and they're gonna guide you. For the most part, the right way. And I can't speak for everybody, but I do know Greg and Wink. They know exactly what the fight game entails, and like I trust them.
Have you ever had issues with like confidence, trusting the process?
Trusting the process, yeah, like because like I've seen so many people that are just like so good in the gym and stuff, and they get out there and they just totally just fluke out and they just can't
Yeah.
can't pull together, almost like gym warriors. And I feel like they're some of the hardest workers in the room, and they just when it comes to like the actual fight, they couldn't go, they couldn't pull the
Mhm.
trigger. And um, I used to think like, oh man, it's an individual basis, and I think that to a point. But if you want to follow a blueprint, that's the blueprint to follow. Work your ass off, grind in, day out, do the extra things. If you feel like someone else is outworking you, make sure you matching them. And if you're not matching them, go even further and try to do more. If it to just use miles. If I feel like my opponent's running 3 miles, I'm gonna run four. And when I'm running that fourth, I'm thinking like maybe he's running five. I was like, well, I'm gonna at least do five today. Just something very small like that I feel like uh, will give you edges, and you can do that in all aspects of MMA. And I feel like it's paid off, at least for me. I can't speak for everybody, but I do think that if you're confident in yourself, which us fighters we do, we struggle, we go back and forth all the time. Like people tell you that they're full blown, just 100%. I'm gonna kill everybody. I love hearing that because I think in times you do believe that. Um, but there are times where like you just have a bad day. You got a bad
Yeah.
day and you're like, man, I got my butt kicked, man. Just gosh, man, like you don't feel good enough. You know what I mean? And sometimes, especially like in camps, during camp, especially at the beginning, you feel really strong. You have your energy. You're not cutting weight. Typically, you're having some of the best rounds, and then as the time goes in, your body's more fatigued. You're training more than you ever have, and you're probably at a calorie deficit that you typically aren't used to. And then they start to crumble because they feel like they are not good enough. And you just have to, like I said, trust the process, understand what's going on with your body, understand these things. And a lot of these young fighters, they kind of do struggle with that because I was one of them. And I was like, nah, dude, I got this in the bag. And I'm not trying to be overconfident, but I'm gonna go out there and I know if I can perform to the best of my abilities, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pull out this win, and it's gonna be spectacular. You know what I mean? And um, it's happened so far. I'm just gonna continue to do it, and I'm not gonna say there's not bumps in the road, but you know what, man? Like I'm climbing. I'm climbing, man.
Definitely climbing. And Woodson, he's been out for almost a year. And do you think, like, in
Oh,
this matchup, aggression, I mean, from early on is going to be important?
I mean, I think it's always important. I think pace, I think pressure, I think uh, not being stupid, which I've done in there. There's a lot of factors that are gonna go into it. I think I didn't know he was gone for the whole year. I thought it was, half a year, if that, maybe. But at least that makes sense. Uh, yeah, I don't know. He's probably still hungry. He's very hungry. I'm sure he's like, eager to get back in there, and I expect the most dangerous Sean Woodson to come back. I mean, typically when you're in a layoff like that, like some people do think that ring rust is like a huge, huge thing. And I believe to extent, yeah. I was like, but it doesn't take that long to not get it back, if that makes sense. Like somebody's like, oh well, the whole fight I was off, and I'm like, yeah. I was like, you kind of looked a little bit off, but maybe you're just unsure of yourself. You know what I mean too. There's just certain things because when I fought somebody, I can't remember who I fought, but the first, I want to say like the first maybe like 2 minutes, I felt the ring rust. You know what I mean? Felt it a little bit, and I was like, man, I was like, and just didn't feel familiar enough. And then after that, then you found it. You know what I mean? So I feel like you'll get it back, but if you have this mindset that's just like, oh, it's messing with me, it's messing with, yeah, it's gonna mess with you. Like if you're just trying to go out there, do your job, and figure it out, and stop worrying about things that like you can't necessarily control, like then don't worry about it. Go out there and fight. Like that's what we do. That's our job. Like go out there and fight to the best of your ability. And I think that um, it plays a little bit of factor, but you should be able to push through it.
Is there anybody near the size of Sean Woodson at Jackson Wink? Did you bring anybody in or anybody like that?
So I finally got one of my buddies that he's been training like, but he's been sticking to like jujitsu because he's mainly a striker. But I've been sparring a lot of these big dudes, man, like these 185ers, these guys that are walking on about 205 because they're 6'3", they got that long reach. And man, I've been freaking having to spar these guys that are heavy because at Jackson Wink we split up the thing, so we're like I think it's like 155 and below. We have as lightweight class, and then everything else is heavyweight. So they've been kind of sticking around, like, because they're first. They go at 10:30, and then they hang around for me, and I'm blessed that they're willing to do that. And I got some really good studs that are in there, and they're doing their thing and giving me good looks and stuff. And I finally found a buddy of mine. His name's Saint, and I pulled him out of his jujitsu stuff because he's trying to be well rounded, which I give him so much props for. But my dude, I need you, man. You're 6'3". I was like, you have a long reach. You're skinny. You kind of look like him, man. And I was like, I'll even help you out, man. Just please, just I need you for sparring days. He's like, I got you, bro. I got you. So I give a big thanks to him and stuff. And I think finally, like I found that training partner who was at my weight because he's a 45er as well. But he's on his verge of making his pro debut. But he's been kickboxing for years. You know what I mean? So it's nice to have him and get that look, get that feel, and get his feedback.
It must be nice to work with the 185ers because if you get into the clinch with them, they're so strong, right? So when you actually lock up with somebody that's a 145, you're like, oh, this is not like the 185ers, man. I feel really good in this position.
Strength wise, you feel like you're okay, but it's not necessarily about like their like we're going back to his stature. That's why like like at the beginning of the interview we were talking about like just kind of him and his stature is because like trying to hold down a super skinny guy, you know what I mean? It's a little different than holding just like a very strong like broad dude. You know what I mean? I feel like you can get a whole like good grip on him, but when you're getting these skinny guys, it's not even so much about like you wrapping up on them. It's like if you try to take them down, their leg is so long they're literally just posting. And they can like stop the takedown, which he does really well. He does it with both hands and feet, and he does it really well. He's very hard to take down. You have to time him. Uh, so like I said, I've broken him down. I've seen the shots that he's really put together. He switches both stances. He likes to do a lot of this like wavy motion that like really just does good about kind of always kind of keep you on your toes. You know what I mean? So I'm having guys do that for me, and like I said, I'm gonna be as prepared as possible for this guy, and I take him super serious. And we're gonna go out there, and we're gonna, like I said, try to get another finish, like always.
It's 3 in a row if you take him out, 4 in a row in the division, put you in a beautiful spot, man. Like, the sweet spot where you could like maybe fight somebody with a name, maybe fight somebody in a tough, like you're in that position, right? So a lot of momentum for you, man. It's good to see.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm definitely looking forward to, I don't mind being in this area. I don't mind it because at this point, like I'm making money, and stuff. But you know, you should always have your goals high, man. Hard, very very high goals so that like you can wake up every morning and it's like, no, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But let's just chip away at the block so we can get there and make it. Obviously being these guys in this area right now where I feel like top 25, top 20 is kind of where we're lingering, and then I'm gonna try to get in that top 15, top 10, and then we'll start peeking and seeing who has a belt and all that. So I just take it one fight at a time, one shot at a time, one training camp at a time, and try not to get too consumed about everything else. You know what I mean? I'll watch like whoever's in my division just so I have an idea. You know what I mean? But I just whoever they put in front of me is just has my full attention and my full focus.
Yeah, man. Chingasos, man. Like, what else can you tell us? Like, teach us some language, man. Chingasos. What else? What are the other words that you use?
I don't know, man. It's gotta kind of come up. It's gotta come up in the
Just naturally.
situation.
All right,
Mas
all right.
chingazos, bro. Lots and lots of
Okay.
chingazos, bro. Uh, Fiera brothers, fire, bro. Just
Yeah,
it's
so
gonna
like there
hit.
was some comments underneath the last interview. They're like, "Oh, he's gonna throw them chingasos." I was like, "Oh, it must be, it must be something heavy." So it's all good, man.
It's
August 5th, UFC Fight Night, Nashville, back again in front of a crowd. Man, Nashville's gonna be insane. Steve, thank you so much for the time, man. All the best in this one, man. You got a lot of momentum, like I said, and it's gonna be incredible.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Love being on the podcast with you, brother. It's always a good time.